Hello everyone, I'm Xavier and welcome to the second video of my devlog series. So, in order to keep this video dynamic and to not waste too much of your time, I'm just going to make a somewhat quick rundown of the things I've been doing in this past 4 or 5 days. The first thing is that I finally came around to skin and rig this little character here, which would be Mr. Beaver's daughter. She will be part of a little quest on the other side of the island actually. The animation I'm using here is only something I found from Mixamo, but I'm going to most probably, do my own little idle happy to be there animation, and then she will have probably 2 other animations that I will show you later on. Next, I worked on this little particle effect here, which I think fits with the style of the game, and yet I needed something that, well, sparkles and shines, so you know you can interact with it. It's basically going to emit this particle based on the mesh, nothing very crazy here. And I implemented a pickup system where the item is going to be put down into a list of items and then checked against the needs of different NPCs and stuff like that for the little quest system. And if the aspect of getting a wave back from the characters when you waved at them came from my girlfriend's suggestion, the second one is from another friend that came to check the game with me. So before I was displaying the font from the center to the sides, it was always centered, and basically the typewriter effect would like spread the words across from the center to the sides, and it was indeed not very legible. So I changed it for a more normal approach. The font will be changed still. I think it's not very readable for even from a short distance, and I really don't want that. Next up is that I started to fill up the whole second level of the island. For that matter, I modeled this new type of tree here, which in my mind is an oak tree. And I finally got around to use my birch trees. I adjusted the color of the different type of foliages. And actually what took the most time here was to finally get around to put all the rivers and falls into the island. And believe me, sculpting down all of this and placing those paths took a whole day by itself. I had to match and fit every little one of them, and I have quite a few. I think I have 11 falls around the island, so that was something. So of course the detailing is still at its very early stage for that second level. I didn't come around yet to do all the little banks of the rivers, the details around them, place the rocks. I will need to place all the particle effects at the bottom of the falls, so to match this very not pretty connection between the 2 different stream paths. Next I will need some different elements and plants and whatnot to hide the connection between these and these textures here. Maybe I could come up with something a bit more smart than that, but it works, so I'm going to stay with that technique for now. So yeah, the second floor is still pretty much in development too, but I came into putting more details into it already. Of course, I'm still to create a lot of particle effects and stuff like that, fill it up with life animals, etc. But it's shaping nicely, and somewhere around here I will have an old building that you will see later on. Actually, let's go ahead and take a minute and look around the second level a little bit, see how it feels like with our little character here. You can see I started to put bunnies everywhere because I do love bunnies. I think they are cute, especially for my game. And let's take a little walk towards my birch forest there. Obviously, I tend to high grass, maybe too much. But I think it's funny to kind of see just the head of the character poking through. So here we go. I can easily imagine this part of the forest being very nice. And I can't wait to add some sound effects into it and maybe some animals. I think it's going to work nicely. And again, I will have to detail all these parts here, put some rocks down there. Everything needs more life and more finish. I still have some half floating trees. And next I wanted to show you the little wing that Camomille will be able to use later on to fly around. So that will be something you unlock a little bit later in the game when you help some characters. And I'm not going to show you how it works right now because I'm still working on the mechanics and it's a little bit clunky, so this will come later. And last but not least, I spent quite some time finding a solution to have a bridge, a rope bridge actually, that would move and still be walkable and have my character following its way. And it was actually not that easy to have something that is not physics based but animation based and have the character follow its movement around. But I managed to do it, and at the end of this video I'm probably going to share the little tricks and tips I used to achieve that effect. So now comes the part where I show you how I did this little bridge. So the first thing you do after modeling it, adding some bones, a skin modifier, in this case in max, and doing the animation and exporting to the usual FBX format, is because you have a mesh which is animated and displays with some wait, let me pop up the animation window. Here we go. So the mesh is moving around, and in that case you cannot use a mesh collider. So the best way to get around to have some colliders is to add them manually. So it's what I did here. I used all these boxes that I placed and hid the removed the mesh renderer from them and just used the collider itself. And as you can see here on the left, I actually parented them to the different bones of the animation. That way I am sure that even when the animation is playing, I'm just going to press play on the animation window here, they are moving and following the animation around. So once I placed all these boxes, I needed a way for Camomille to stay on the bridge when it moves, because as you might know it, when you have a collider that moves around and a character is on it, it's just going to keep its original position and the collider is going to move underneath it, and I hated that. So what I came up with was to use this volume, which I called swingers, and they are actually animated by hand with the through the animation window. So here, as you can see, I'm using some basic key through the record option here, moving them around and keying and tracking the animation of the bridge as close as I can, and I did that for every one of them, so they follow the bridge around. Next, I'm going to use these swinger volumes that I'm going to put in ears trigger, and as the character is going to pass through them, I want to parent him to it, so it will be forced to follow their position. First, I tried to do it with the bones, but as they would rotate and turn around, the character would finish its movement slanted at an angle, and that looked very bad. So I found this idea to use the swingers that I would animate only laterally, so Camomille would follow it naturally and keep its upright position. I use a tag. I created this custom tag here, bridge, that I'm calling into this little script that I put onto the character, basically saying that every time it stays into the trigger of an object called, with the tag called bridge in this case, well, it becomes its child. And when it gets out of it, it stops being a child. Very, very simple. I put that onto the character. I could actually put that script into the whole third person character, but I keep it here for now. And so as it goes along, it's going to parent and unparent from every one of them and follow their position. And finally, just a word of caution, when you are actually using these volumes that you want to parent your character to, it's very important that you do not scale them. Do not use the scale function to change the size. Always use this. I have the very, very bad tendency of using this, but when you do that, it's a transform, and we are parenting the transform. So if you make the mistake of using the scale, well, your character is going to be deformed as he goes along through different scalings. And yeah, it looks really weird, but actually could be used for another trick some days with some, I don't know, intoxication effect, I don't know. Anyway, and this is it. This concludes my second devlog video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestion, comment or question, please leave me a message. I will gladly answer you as fast as I can. In the meantime, if you could and if you would, go to the Steam page of my game and put into your wishlist. That way it will help the game at launch day tremendously, and I would appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Until then, stay safe, enjoy, and I'll see you around.